What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. And this is what Deontay Wilder said on his latest podcast concerning Tyson Fury getting beat up in sparring, okay? And this is what he had to say. He said, "I'm ready. I hope they are ready." The former champion told PBC broadcast, "I hope they have their priorities in line, the game plan, how they are going to approach the fight." He says they're trying to run away from it. I'm running to it. I don't believe he had COVID. I know he wasn't doing well in camp. The young guys were piercing him up. I had a young guy from my camp who was piercing him up. Those were the words of Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Let me counterpunch. There was no secret that Jared Anderson, was one of those ones. I'm not sure who was in Wilder's camp. I know Efe Ajagba, he's pretty close to Wilder, I believe. Jared Anderson was there, and according to John Fury and others, he was getting lit up in sparring. You seen his face. He looked beat up. He looked like he was taking some pounding in training, right? He looked that way. All right. So shortly after, then the COVID rumors started. Then we seen him test positive. We heard he test positive a day after his outbreak, quote unquote, in his camp. Then he test positive. Then all of a sudden he's out shaking hands and out with the public and renting cars and shit. So I'm with Wilder. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't the case that it was COVID. Maybe it was because maybe he got hurt and the type of punishment that he took in sparring really wasn't warranted to be fighting a tough fight right after that, and they pushed a date. You know what I mean? So, it was all bizarre to me how that happened. But I think Wilder was right about that in that regard. Yes, Jared Anderson was doing exactly what he was paid to do. Give Tyson Fury hell, and he was doing so. Now, does that mean that the fight was stopped because of it? Well, we can't 100% prove that, but, you have a point for bragging rights, because that will make Deontay Wilder feel good, like knowing, someone, a part of his team that he used to work with, was really getting into Tyson Fury's ass, his rival, right? So it seems interesting to say the least, but I honestly think that the ticket sales were piss poor, and Tyson Fury, I think he was either overtrained or wasn't ready and decided to push it back based on a lot of reasons, okay? So because of that, I think that was one of the reasons why it is October 9th instead of that particular date on the 24th. Because the 24th was supposed to have been the date that it was originally supposed to be, out of nowhere, right? So out of nowhere, you had this date, and then all of a sudden, he catches COVID. Then he didn't have COVID. But then you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. That wasn't enough time for him to be quarantined. You know what I mean? So, it was all up in the air. But, John Fury praised Jared Anderson for being one of the best new prospects right now. And if John Fury is talking about you, that tells you without a shadow of a doubt, okay, that he's definitely the guy to really be concerned with. He's definitely one of those guys. So I think that that gives Deontay Wilder much joy to hear Tyson Fury was getting touched up, And the thing is, though, here's the $1 million question. Have we even heard, excuse me, have we ever heard anything about a Deontay Wilder sparring? So that's another mystery about Deontay Wilder, but then again, they keeping everything secret except the things that they care to show us, which is expected. Because if they're trying to surprise Tyson Fury by doing certain things, I say, why not? Keep everything in-house, keep everything quiet, show people what you want to show. But what we didn't see Tyson Fury busted up. We didn't see him beat up. I mean, we didn't see him in sparring, but we definitely seen him, with the abrasions and stuff like that. He did look like he was in a fight. He looked like he looked after he would have a true professional fight. a true professional fight. Yeah. So I think that could have been one of the reasons or one of the factors that they decide to postpone that fight. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Deontay Wilder stating that one of his fighters beat up Tyson Fury, and that's the reason why he didn't fight. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.